Hi, I'm Mia Keller, and this is my injury reflection video assignment. I'm going to be talking about Abby Wambach, the former striker for the USA women's soccer team. So during the 2010 World Cup qualifiers for the women's teams, the US was going against Mexico, and Abby Wambach went up for a header, and a player from the Mexican team went up for the header as well and hit her from the side of the head. This caught her off guard, and she fell to the ground, and an immense amount of blood started to spurt out of a gash in her head. The injury was an impact to the skull, and it also split the skin on the side of her forehead. The imaging that I would recommend to be conducted for this injury is an X-ray and an MRI. The X-ray is to ensure that there is no fracture to the skull, and the MRI is to check for any brain damage or bleeding in the brain that the impact may have caused. For the immediate care, I would check for the ABCDEs. So this is checking for airway, breathing, circulation, which includes pulse, disability, and exposing the injury. Next, I would make sure to remove her from the field and try to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible, especially because there was so much blood involved with this injury. I would next do a full body assessment, including checking vital signs and pulse and completing the Glasgow Coma scale to assess the severity of any possible concussion she may have had. After this injury, the athletic trainer actually cleared Abby Wambach to return to play right away after getting staples in her forehead to keep the skin from splitting back apart. This is not the approach that I would have taken. From my knowledge, she was not fully assessed for a possible concussion, which is extremely important, especially because she endured concussions in the past. Next, if someone's losing that much blood, I don't believe it's safe for them to continue in the game, even if they are asking to go back in and they're feeling okay. Not only is it safer for the player if they don't go back in, but it is also, if they do go back in, unsafe for the other players who could be at risk of contracting a blood transfer disease. In my opinion, the athletic trainers in this situation were not being careful enough with player safety. For the recovery of the open wound, I would immediately encourage the athlete to go to the hospital and get stitches. And after this, just rest for a couple of days, no going back to training right away. I would also, if there was a concussion involved, I would require rest for at least a week, depending on how bad the concussion was. After this acute stage, I would recommend light cardiovascular training, such as riding a stationary bike or walking on the treadmill. After this, the athlete can start participating in light sport-specific training, such as lifting or jogging, lighter lifting. After this stage, I would release her to return to non-contact practices or just like team trainings. Again, no contact. And then after this, if no symptoms return, the player will be allowed to participate in full contact team practices and then start playing in games if and only if she's still feeling well and none of those symptoms return. Thank you.